Stefan in the room knows who this is. If you want a mini-ITX version of a classic system, this is the guy to talk to. The Denise board is at Stefan's table. Trevor had a slide dedicated to his work. And so, yeah, without further ado, well, we got to fill the first row. Fred, come sit. Who else? We need Dave Haney. Come on. We need Dave.
Take your
Tony,
seats,
come
people.
on. We got to fill the first row. Stefan's very demanding.
I know
as a
you're
speaker.
tired. Come on, you lazy bums. Take your seats.
We have Dave coming. We got Stefan coming. Jerry's coming.
There we go.
Now we're getting some people. It is like, what is it? It's 10:35. Most of the people in this room went to bed today. Some of them have not yet gone to bed yet. So they're a little slow. You got to be gentle with them.
I'm not in any rush, but let me know when you want me to start. Go, go, go! So, from Sweden with love, what's that about? I heard you got some previews last night at the banquet. And what I'm going to talk about is the mini-ITX boards that Mr. Anderson designed a couple of years ago. So I actually prepared some slides. I'm going to use those just to keep track of things. And we're going to start off with 10% off, of course, for you guys. So at the end, I'm going to give you a, for everyone who's still awake, is going to get a code, promo code that you can use to get 10% off, and also a couple of adapters to the Denise boards. I'm going to touch on the pricing a little bit later, so you understand what you're actually paying for. It's been, God damn it, it's been 12 years, guys. Are we getting old? No, we're not. The color of the beard is supposed to be gray, right? So, around 2012, a guy popped into our Swedish Amiga forums calling himself Mr. Anderson. And he posted a blog that he had created a mini-ITX Amiga clone, basically. And that was the Amy, which I'm holding here. He did it as a challenge, and because his wife wouldn't allow him to keep a big clunky Amiga in the living room connected to the TV. So he wanted like a small mini-ITX case. And he worked on this. He's a hardware engineer by profession. So he designed this. He didn't use anything that was available at the time, and he reversed engineered an Amiga 500 from scratch, basically. And he's kind of picky about that. We've discussed this on and off a lot of times. But for instance, it's using a PS2 mouse and keyboard, and he refused to use any code or anything that was available. He wanted to do it himself, and since he's really picky with the details, I have no idea how many hours he spent with the oscilloscope trying to figure everything out. But he posted this blog, and there was a lot of commotion at the time about it, because he really, the plan was never to, definitely not make anything commercial. And the plan was to release it just to a couple of friends, basically. So he ordered 25 of these boards, and as you might expect, they disappeared immediately. People were crazy. They really wanted this. And even though it was a DIY solution, there's not even the bird seeds on this board. You had to solder everything yourself. But it became popular. And that's popularity and sort of fame was never on the agenda. He did not want that. So he actually pulled the blog at one point. He took it away because he didn't want any excitement or commotion around it. And that's when I started talking to him, and I convinced him to allow me to sort of be the front man, to gather up some components and stuff like that. And that's when I contacted Trevor for the first time, because we actually I had a dream that I could sort of assemble a complete system. So I started digging for, and remember, this was like 12 years ago. So there was still components available, pretty decent prices compared to today for the A500 Plus series. So I bought a couple of batches of Denise and Angus and Paula, etc. But unfortunately, that was too ambitious for me. So we never reached that goal of delivering a complete system. I built a couple, or not I, but Mr. A built a couple of one which Trevor has in his collection. And Dave Haney also has one of these pre-built systems. I think actually those are the only two that we sold sort of complete. So that was back in 2012. And since this board had a lot of SMD components, he wanted to try to build a board that was completely through-hole to make it easier for customers to build it. Since it became so popular, and he realized that he was making an impact, which is a good thing. So he designed the Easy Amy, which I also have a board right here, so you can see it. I have another camera. I will give you a closer look at the boards later. I also have a pre-built system here of Easy Amy. So this is a mini-ITX completely through-hole system. It has this CPLDI expansion in it, but that's just a bonus. So as you can see, they all have a PS2 audio, PS2 keyboard and mouse, 2 joystick, parallel and serial, as well as a 15-pin D-sub for standard Amiga video out. It also has floppy connector, basically an Amiga 500 with 2 slots. But this one was never publicly released. There's still I wouldn't say kinks, but basically it was horribly difficult to build since the density between the components is crazy. To route this 4-layer board was an insane achievement on its own. So this was never released. But a couple of years later, around 2015-16, he started working, basically this has been a journey with the boards evolving continuously. So the next step sort of was to make a board that had all the bird seeds populated from the factory. So the customer only had to sort of solder the simple through-hole components. And that's when Denise came to fruition. So this is the Denise board that we're currently selling. It's been sold out since June, I think. And that's not sort of for the lack of components or anything like that. It's basically that this is a spare time thing, and we don't have time or energy to continuously do this. But we will, after the show actually, later tonight, at least in Sweden time, I will add a couple of boards to the Tindy store. So anyone who wants one can get a board and also use the 10% discount that I mentioned. So that's basically a mini-ITX PCB with all the bird seeds. That's all the surface mount components assembled from the factory. Like I said, I have a different camera, but I don't know how good this view is, but about half of the components are surface mounted, so they're already there. And the rest is basically sockets and connectors that you solder on. And then you get a mini-ITX A500 with 2 Soro slots. That's one of the main features. You get 2 Soro slots, and as I said, the PS2 mouse keyboard is built in. There's an ATX standard power on here, and a lot of the sort of the small features that you add on later on an Amiga 500, that is built into this board. So, for instance, you have there's an AVR on here that handles ROM mapping, and I'm going to show that in a demo if the Lord permits. And also, you have a debug header between the Soro slots down here, so you can hook up a simple USB serial adapter, and then you can get output to see what kind of keyboard it detects, because it also, of course, it supports both Amiga keyboards and standard PC keyboards, PS2. So it auto detects that when you reset the board. Yeah, you'll have to ask me questions later. I'm probably missing half of the features, stuff like that. Live presentation. So we built and sold a couple of these. I don't have an exact number, but we sold a lot to Germany and the UK, a couple to the US. Thanks, Stefan, for offering to bring the boards, and cheers, mate. And thank you so much for bringing a Denise board to show people. Really appreciate it. So what's in the future? The future is big, man. It's huge. No, it's not. It's still mini-ITX. And in fact, I'm going to give you a little sneak peek on what's coming probably next year. And I'm not going to give any dates or estimates or price indications or things like that. But basically, he's been working on this board since the beginning as well. He did the first prototype of this back in 2012, and he brought it to a barbecue without saying anything. It was just like, hey guys, I brought this mini-ITX 1200 if you want to take a look at it. He gave me the chills, man. But here it is. So this is Alicia 1200, which is yeah, I don't know how to describe this because I think it's so awesome. So it's got all the features you might expect. It's got the clock port, let's see, around here, IDE, and then he put the serial and parallel on headers to keep the board as flat as possible. So it will only have one height of connectors, like the original 1200. It won't be dual height as these boards are, right there. So this will be perfect for putting in really small, tight cases, keyboard cases, maybe. And we haven't really decided on how we're going to deliver this, because everyone is not comfortable soldering this kind of pitch on the ICs, plus the fact that the AGA chipset is getting hard to find. There is still one retailer who carries them in the UK, I've seen, but unless you have a broken A1200 to desolder these from, you're out of luck. There are a couple of the Re-Agnes, and basically all the chips have been reverse engineered and put into FPGAs, and you could use those. But that, then you're into rather use an FPGA arcade or something like that, a Mister. But this is it. This is a genuine chipset mini-ITX board. that will be launched next year. And I thought we'd just see if everything works, and I'm going to show you. I mean, you know how an Amiga looked like, right? Except that my capture card, for some reason, I'm using the. Let me turn this on. Hang on. There. I'm using the Pi RGB HDMI. I don't know what it's called, adapter. So that's probably what's messing up the colors. I haven't configured it correctly. But there you have it. I'm going to show you one of the main features that I love, because I asked for it. It's this one. So the SIM card has a beautiful Denise logo that our friend Andreas made for us. It's really difficult to aim with a camera since it's reversed. But yeah, so I can just like pop in a floppy. And it's doing what an Amiga 500 is supposed to do. It's too bad you can't hear the floppy sound, because this is a really old Amiga 2000 floppy. I think it's loud as hell. So this is a OS 3.2 on this machine. So it takes a little while to load. And as you can see here, I'm using a standard Pico PSU ATX. And I've tried this board with 4 different PSUs, and all of them have worked flawlessly. The power requirements is not high. I think I've driven it with like 2 amps on the 12 volt. So it's nothing. But yeah, so this is the board. I haven't connected any. I have a keyboard connected actually, not a mouse, so I can't do much from here. Maybe I can do like that. Yeah. So one of the cool features that I mentioned was that it had MCU, not an Arduino, sorry, an AVR, not Mega, and that has a feature to connect the most significant address pins of the ROM to the keyboard. So what I have done is simply to, when I turn on scroll lock here, damn camera, I turn on scroll lock and then I simply reboot. We will get into the diagnostic ROM instead. So this is a great feature. Since it supports, is it 2 megabytes? I always get that confused. 4 megabit, right? 2 megabytes. So you can have 4 different standard 512K ROMs on this. And you can sort of just switch with them. You can switch between 2 of them with the scroll lock button. So if I can actually just do this for funsies. And if I turn off the scroll lock key and reboot, we're back into Amiga OS or Amiga Kickstart. Now I want some applause, right? Something? Thank you. I'm humbled. No, seriously. This is fun. We're doing this for fun. Sometimes I forget that, but that's a bit why I'm hung up on this from Sweden with love thing. I think that it's a lot about community. What we're selling, I don't even want to call it selling because we're not making any money. And what we're providing, I should say, is sort of the opportunity to. We all want to go back to our roots, right? And building your own system, when you turn it on for the first time, I mean, if you haven't done it, you have to at least build something, because it's an awesome feeling. And you learn so much. God damn. I've learned so much about the Amiga architecture just by being sort of on the sideline of this. But asking all the questions, meeting all the awesome people, that's what it's about. It's about community and Yeah, the Discord. I don't really remember how it started, but we decided to use the retro tinkering Discord server, and all you guys have been so amazing in there. I mean, supportive, technically, and I'm gonna say emotionally, but seriously, it's about that. If you have some questions, you wanna find something out, there's always someone there to help out, and that's one. I would say that's the most important thing I love about doing this. So I don't know which slide you can see right now, because I want to go here. I want to bring the questions to the floor. If anyone wants to know anything specific, except for the icebreakers, so answer those if you want to. But I mean, shoot, if there's anything you'd like to know or curious about. I probably can't answer the technical stuff. We'll have to forward that to the engineers.
Hi there. I was curious what the number of layers in the boards, and if there's any difference between the Alicia and the others in terms of the number of layers, because it's ridiculous that...
I'm really sorry. Someone will have to translate that or fix the mic. I tried to make it up, but I couldn't.
All right.
No worries.
Hey, let me try again. I was curious how many layers you need to put in the boards, and if there's a difference between the different boards in terms of the layers. I think you mentioned one only had 2.
Yeah. In the beginning, the first models actually had 2 layers. That was only the first 25 boards that were done in 2 layers. The rest got a proper ground and power layer on them. So the Amy boards that we sold, I think we sold around 50 of those. All of those had 4 layers, and the rest of them has been 4 layers as well. One thing, and even the AGA chipset board has 4 layers, and he wanted to put in some more features on the board, like fast ROM, for instance, would have been cool to have, but it was just impossible to do with 4-layer board. And we wanted to sort of keep the complexity and cost down as well. So since this board, all of them basically support all the accessories that normal Amigas have. For instance, I mean, if you look at this is an Easy Amy that I have here. I'm gonna switch the camera so we can actually get a better look. There we go. So let's see if I can get this right. So this is the Easy Amy that we're looking at now, which is the through-hole one. And you can see here I have the Gotta Go Fast ROM expansion here. And if you want to put on something else, if you want to put a PyStorm on there, works perfectly. I actually have I have 2 systems running here. So like I said, if everything works as it's supposed to, we should see another one here. So this is another Amy system with a Vampire, obviously, running Coffin OS. So and you can do stuff that you do with a Vampire, like playing Quake, of course. What else? So I mean, all the accessories you can imagine. I don't know. I think there's been 1 or 2 odd accessories for the Zorro ports that has been reported not working, but that's very, very rare. Basically, what you get. I'm gonna turn off this. Sorry, it's disturbing. Basically, what you get is an Amiga 500 that you put one of these sidecars on, so you get a Zorro slot on the side. But instead, this one has two of them built in. And that brings on all the limitations of a normal Amiga 500 Plus, obviously. So you can only have one card using DMA, for instance. You can't have two SCSI cards. You can have one SCSI card, one network card, one SCSI, one graphics card, or whatever. So if I switch here and here, you should see the third system that I hopefully wanted to show you. Yeah. So this is another Denise board that I have in a very tight mini-ITX case underneath my monitor here. And as you can see, it has one of the Picasso clones in it that Mr. A did a smaller version of this one of the GB8P2 that Matze adapted. So this is sort of the third division of that. So it fits into the very slim. I just made a gesture showing you very slim. So it fits in the small cases. So here I have a network card, an Ariadne clone, I guess you could say, because that's another board. Let me know if your mind starts to fade out. I'll cut it short. I could probably talk to you guys for hours about this. So he did a couple of boards, Zorro boards, that he adapted to fit in the small chassis. So and this is one of them. It's a network card using the Realtek 8019 chipset. So we sold this as DIY boards as well. We included them in a kit. And just recently, I've got a batch of boards that has all the SMT components pre-soldered as well. So there's only 4 components you have to put on here. A clock and 2 sockets and the mag jack. So that's very simple to build. And I'm considering building a couple and reselling them as well, if anyone is interested. The Picasso card that he made is available open source on a1.org, right? The German site. So you can get those and order them yourself if you want to. Yeah. Like I said, he did a couple of Zorro boards. He made a small USB card as well. Yeah, I think that's. Like I said, I could probably go on for hours, but I realize you guys are tired. So, if there aren't any more questions.
Any questions from the audience? Very nice. One question for Trevor. Come here, Trevor. We're there. 1 second. He hears through here. We hear through here. Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Hi, Stefan. Yeah, excellent work that Mr. A and yourself are doing. Now,
Thanks.
I know a lot of people can solder. I can solder, but it would look like it was done by a monkey. Are any of the guys that do the Amiga boards, are they potentially going to build systems for people, or are you planning to offer a system build price? I know it'll be expensive.
Yeah, great question. I've actually been in contact. I've been hunting people who do these Amigas, and gently, every single one that I've contacted has said that they have just too much to do, and charging. It's difficult to charge for these things. I mean, getting a deal when you solder boards like this. I mean, if you're willing to pay absolutely someone can do it for you. But for us to sort of coordinate this, and then I went over a couple of procedures to do this. I thought about people shipping in their broken Amigas, and then we do I know Chucky has been doing people send his broken 81200. I have one of his boards here as well, or 3 of them actually. But it's difficult to sort of coordinate, and there's a lot of shipping back and forth. So I haven't landed on a business model, so to speak, but it would be awesome to be able to do that. Yeah. So, but we still have Lisa is still in, and Alicia is still in sort of a last testing phase. So we still have a couple of months to figure those things out. But yeah, it would be cool. I'm not gonna solder Alicia myself either, so I'm gonna pay Mr. A to do it. Yeah, cheers.
First, Amiwest, really appreciate the presentation. It's fantastic.
Been an honor.
Super excited about your work. And we'll see you here next year, right? You're going to come?
Hopefully. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.